Peter Eliades with you, Stock Market Cycles Update. Today is Monday, November 4th, and there are a lot of things happening in the market, folks, and it is getting very ripe here, and we'll tell you what we mean by that as we look at some of the indicators. We're going to look quickly at the highest projection outstanding in the S&P cash, but then we're going to go some of the indicators, the indexes actually, that we very seldom look at and show you what they are showing us, because some of them are very, very interesting. Before we get started, please, some of you are new out there. If you have not subscribed yet to this update, please go to the bottom right of your screen. Subscribe to our updates. They're on a daily basis, sometimes more than a daily basis. And if you want to subscribe and cling the bell when you do that, then you'll be notified of any of the updates that we do. Okay, let's take a look at the projections. Here we go. This is the highest outstanding projection in the S&P cash. It's a 20-week offset. That's the red line that you see here. And it's used to generate nominal 40-week projections. So the nominal 40-week projection in the S&P cash, we don't have dual offsets most of the time when we do weekly projections. That calls for this red number right here, 3197.96. Let's round it off to 3198, or round it off even more than that, right about 3200. That's the upside nominal 40-week projection for the S&P. But remember, we have to allow for a 10% margin of error. So if we measure from the 2346.58 low that was seen in late December of last year up to the projected level of 30, let's say 3200, and do take 10% of that for a margin of error, then you come up with projections of 3112.76 to 3283.02. Notice how very close we are. The lower end of that projection, 3112.76, today's high, 3085.20, 0.9% away from the lower side of this projection window. So that's the first thing we want to make clear. We're not yelling and screaming, the top is in, the top is in, but boy, are we getting really close to at least this longest upside, the furthest upside projection we have, at least on a minimal basis. Now, we say that because we want you to take a look at a couple of other indicators, ones that we seldom look at. One of them is the semiconductor index, Philadelphia Semiconductor Index. Symbol is $SOX for my particular needs. And let's show us a couple of things here that are very, very interesting. Okay, this is a 10-week offset, nominal 20-week projection. We just came into the projection window at the end of last week, and we entered right into the middle of the projection window today. That projection calls for 1683.43 to 1771.53. We are in the middle of that projection window, folks. The next one we want to look at, this is the nominal 78 to 80 week projection, one of the longer ones that we have. We are again smack dab in the middle of that projection window. Those projection numbers call for 1669.38 to 1803.38. Today's high was 1729.69, right smack dab in the middle of that projection window. And finally, let's take a look at some little technical things that are occurring on the SOX index. Okay. George Lindsay was a very famous cycle master. He goes back a few years before those of you that are younger, but those of you that are older may very well remember his name. One of the things that Lindsay contended was usually at important market tops, there is a top formed an equal distance away from the cycle between the prior two bottoms. Well, we have an example of that today in the SOX index. And this is a closing weekly price chart of the SOX. The first low that we see here is the weekend, December 21. That, of course, is just before Christmas week last year. And the second closing weekly price low occurred on May 31st of 19, 20 weeks apart. If you go forward 20 weeks from that May low, the week ending May 31st, that takes you to this week, folks. And here we are, bottom to top. It's a possibility. The fact that we are reaching projections as we're coming into that potential bottom to top area tells us to keep a very close, watchful eye out on this market now. We've been quite bullish over the past several weeks. As you know, we've given you upside projections. As you know, we've met a lot of those upside projections. We're meeting some more as we're talking. The last one that we want to show you, a more esoteric indicator, which is the OEX. Many people call that the S&P 100. Let's take a look at that. These are fascinating things that are happening, my friends. Okay, so the first one we want to look at on the OEX is a very short-term one, the shortest term one, in fact. These are 2.5 week offsets for nominal 5-week projections. And look what we have here, right smack dab in the middle of that short term. This is the shortest term weekly projection that we look at. As we said, this is a 2.5 week offset, nominal 5-week projection. We are right there in fact, we're up towards the upper end of that projection on the OEX. Let's take a look at the next one on the OEX. This is the 5-week offset for a nominal 10-week projection. Look at this. These are fascinating. The upper end of the projection window, 1372.62, rounded off. Would you like to know what today's high was, folks? Right up here, 1372.68, right at within 6 cents of the upper window of that upside projection on the nominal 10-week projection for the SOX, the OEX index. That's the S&P 100. The last chart we want to look at is nominal 40-week projection, a 20-week offset for the OEX. Lo and behold, let's see what we're looking at here. Move the scale down a little bit. Whoa. Now remember, the last one we showed you was at the upper end of its projection by 0.06 of a point, 0.06 points. Look at this one. The upside projection on this one is 1372.57 to 1446.10. Today's high again, as we told you, was this week's high and today's high, 1372.68. Minimum upside, 1372.57. So, those are the charts we're going to show you today. We have no short-term intraday charts to show you. If something starts to happen intraday, we will do a special update and let you know. But for now, I wanted to let you know how very ripe these stock charts are, and we are entering the territory of a lot of these upside projections, especially as I showed you today on the OEX and the SOX indexes that are saying, hey, it's time to start looking for a potential market top. Yes, we do have higher projections within the projection window. Remember, this is 1372.57. That was just reached today. It allows for a projection as high as 1446.10. But this is cautionary time. We've entered that projection window. Thanks so much for watching. For those of you new, again, please subscribe. Please make some comments down below if you like it. Please give us a thumbs up if you like it. And if you do subscribe, click on the notification bell. If we do a special update, you're going to see it. Thanks a lot for watching.